why did you want to go to Palestine?
Well, I studied politics at Edinburgh Uni, so I like to have lots of opinions about things, which can be annoying for people, I think, and most of my opinions are pretty ill-informed, but I saw like it was an opportunity, basically something that I was interested in, to actually kind of get a wee bit of information about it directly, you know, and until you've been somewhere and seen something, it's hard to get an appreciation for it. So yeah, I suppose it was a good opportunity for me to be able to talk about something and for once actually know what I was talking about. So that's probably the main reason. I want to find out more about the conflict.
So what did you do in Palestine?
Well, basically what we did was we travelled about, so it was good because we tried to meet as many people as possible in as short a time as possible. So we stayed like in Bet Sahor, which is a Christian city in Palestine, quite close to in the West Bank. I should be clear, like we're in the West Bank, not Gaza, close to the border. So we stayed there and then we just travelled. We'd managed to get a coach, and there was a group of us, about 10 of us or something, and we just travelled all over because the West Bank's very small. Like Israel and the West Bank together are about the size of Wales, so the West Bank itself is easy to travel around. So yeah.
So what is it like in Palestine? Because people think, automatically it's like a really dangerous place, you shouldn't go there.
Yeah.
Like, how would you?
It's not dangerous. Like I'd say that first of all. Like, sure, it's dangerous in comparison maybe to somewhere like here, but I wouldn't say. I'd say the most dangerous place I was probably Jerusalem. I think Jerusalem's more dangerous because there have been terrorist attacks there, but then there's been terrorist attacks in lots of places. So I think Palestine itself is like one of the most welcoming places you could go. They're incredibly happy for you to be there. And what people don't appreciate is it's not like Afghanistan and Iraq, because it's not just a Muslim population, it's a very secular society. Like, it's a mixture of Christians and Muslims, and they live together very well. There's really not much conflict there because this struggle kind of binds them together. So yeah, it's a very welcoming place, and as far as like what it looks like and what it feels like, it's quite arid, you know, like it's quite desertified, and it's funny because the cities themselves, the big cities, they kind of spring out from nowhere and they're kind of ramshackle, but like bustling. There's lots of people there. So yeah, I don't know how to describe that, but it's got a real rough and ready feel to it, which is quite satisfying.
So, where did you stay when you were travelling about? Do you have youth hostels there, or?
No, what we did was we came in, flew into Tel Aviv, and I didn't stay in Tel Aviv at first. I went to Jerusalem, stayed in Jerusalem in a hostel, in East Jerusalem for about, 3 nights or 4 nights or something. And then having done that, we travelled. We went into the West Bank and stayed in this house in Bet Sahor. So it was like a rented house, and we all stayed in there. And then we just had like a coach thing that we travelled about to different places, but we used that as our base. And we stayed in a couple of other cities at various points, but generally we stayed there. And then after that, we went back to Jerusalem, stayed in the hostel again in Jerusalem, or not all of us, but some of us did. And then Tel Aviv, and then stayed in a hostel in Tel Aviv.
So what are like prices like out there? Is it quite cheap?
It's very cheap. It's not cheap in Tel Aviv. It's expensive in Tel Aviv. Like Israel generally is quite expensive. Jerusalem is quite cheap. Well, if you're in East Jerusalem, it's quite cheap. Jerusalem's like split. So West is more kind of Israel. It's more populated by Israeli people, and then or Jewish people, and East Jerusalem is more Arab. So if you're in East Jerusalem, it's cheap, and if you're in West Jerusalem, it's quite expensive, basically. The same products, massively different prices. So you can eat in the West Bank and in East Jerusalem for like, I don't know, a few pound a day. Like if you just eat falafel, which I did, then you can basically, it's not expensive at all. And the hostel, very cheap, like a few pound a day, a night.
How much was it to like rent the coach?
Well, see, because I knew this guy who's like the president of the Palestinian Solidarity Group at Edinburgh Uni. He kind of had the contacts, so that probably made a difference. Like in total, I probably spent, for all the coach and the house and stuff, and just all the places we went, it probably cost like just under £400 for the time or whatever. But then food was on top of that. It was quite good, yeah.
So are there any things that, like, I don't know, highlights that stick out for you in particular?
Yeah, no, there's highlights definitely. I suppose like on like a serious note, the highlights probably would have been we went to, where did we go? Was it? Which city was it? Hebron. We went to Hebron, and that's one of the most divided cities. So that was quite powerful because we met a family who were living, like, basically their house backed onto a settlement, which is rare that you see that close. Like, settlements are illegal under international law, and they're Israeli, what they call Zionists, people who specifically come into West Bank to build houses to try and spread the Israeli state. Like, the government isn't telling them necessarily to do that, they do it out of their own desire, so they're pretty extreme individuals. And like, his house was literally backing onto their houses, and they were particularly nasty settlers, so it was very violent. He lived a very violent life because they were constantly persecuting him specifically, and his family and his children and his wife and stuff. So it was very powerful hearing him speak about that, and that was probably the most emotional moment, hearing him speak about that. But then on the other side, there was obviously like loads of fascinating things. We went to this city, Nablus, which is an entirely Muslim city pretty much, so you can't buy any alcohol and stuff there. And we went to a Turkish bathhouse in Nablus, which is like, you walk up this really dodgy wee alley, and then you find like this little entrance. You got this windy wee entrance, and you go into this bathhouse, and there's just a bunch of these big Arab guys sitting around smoking shisha pipes, watching Al Jazeera, with like a fountain in the middle, and they're all drinking like tea because you can't get any alcohol. And then you just go inside, and basically there's this sauna type place with like a steam room and another two different types of steam room, and then this big heated floor that you're supposed to lie on your back on. So there's all these guys just lying on the floor, and then you come out and you get like a really brutal massage from this guy. Like, it's one of those, like, you hear these jokes about really heavy Turkish massages, but basically it just hits you the whole time and then makes you sit up at the end, and this worst part, he gets your head like that and then cracks your neck and cracks it the other way, and that was pretty brutal, but it was a good story.
It's a good story.
It was good fun. So that was one of the more memorable moments as well. Yeah.
So, would you advise people or suggest to people that they should go to Palestine and see this like completely different world?
Yeah, damn straight. Visit Palestine. Yeah, of course. I think so. I think you should do it because I think people don't realise how safe it is and how welcoming people are. And you really could, like, we were walking the streets at night and stuff like that in Bet Sahor, and you feel completely relaxed. And I'm not saying, like, whenever you're travelling anywhere, you should keep your guard up, but I think just to get an appreciation for how open people are and friendly people are, and to hear some of their stories and stuff, it's just a fascinating place to go, and it's a unique experience. And you don't need to, like, we went to a few demonstrations and stuff, but if you really want to keep your nose clean, then it's probably best to avoid that type of thing. But there's no need to go to that type of thing anyway. You can just travel about, and it's an interesting and beautiful place. And also there's touristy stuff as well. Like, you can go to Bethlehem, which is fascinating, and you can go to the Dead Sea. And Jerusalem, as far as like a tourist destination is concerned, you've got like pretty much all the holiest sites in the world in one city. It's just an extraordinary place. So like I'd love to live in Jerusalem for a wee while, because it's just there's no city I think in the world like it. So yeah, no, people should definitely go.
So why should people leave their comfort zones and go see places like this? What do they get from it?
I think well, it's sometimes hard to pinpoint something because you just get so much, but it's the essence of life to some degree. If we have the opportunity to travel and see people from a different culture and go into environments that are completely alien to us, that challenge us and interest us and excite us, like, is there, I don't know if there's a better example of really kind of living, you know, apart from just getting that wealth of experience. Like, it's such, and the fact is, just from doing it, just from traveling to a new place, it's like unavoidable. the experience you get, this range of experience is unavoidable. You can't. Whereas most things in life, you have to make a specific effort, a real effort to try to find the best bits. And it's not like that when you're traveling. It just falls into your lap. So it's such a great experience, and also it's so unpredictable. So I struggle to answer that just because I just think there's so many reasons.